let's just get into this. This is HBR News number, I already forgot, 461. What do Dr. Disrespect and Julian Assange have in common? Where we discuss the news of the week and give it the Badger treatment. All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. What did I just say? Honey Badger Radio. Hope you guys are doing well this week, and that you're laughing at all of this absurdity so that you're not consumed by it. I am your host, Brian Martinez, and I'm joined by Dr. Ranimer Cam, and I think Lauren Brooks is going to be around as well. She's in the other room. Kitchen. Yeah, she's in the kitchen where women should be.
Yeah, it's an irresistible joke. Don't worry, she seems to enjoy it. It's actually like a craft for her. She enjoys it, and she likes actually making like delicious food. It's the weirdest thing.
It's where they belong. No, but Lauren might be joining us, so I'm gonna put her cartoon in there as well. And she might give like her 2 cents every so often, which is worth a lot more than 2 cents. If you guys have ever listened to Lauren's opinions. But anyway, we have a great show lined up for you guys this week, so please be sure to continue the conversations both in the chat as well as the comment section on this kind of upside down news show that's taking place on the Thursday that it normally would be the talk show where you would also have Mike and Lauren. We're going to be discussing news instead. This week we're going to be talking about the recent news of Julian Assange's release, allegations against a very popular streamer named Dr. Disrespect surface. The ADL is discredited by Wikipedia, whatever that means, and more. So stick around. It's going to be a good time. And be sure to join us afterwards. So Allison asked me once again to essentially harness the power of our Spurgy supporters in the patron show to look at the clips that our artificial intelligence selected from the show that I did with Allison over the weekend. And we're going to see if we can find the best ones. She has been putting them out, but she's like trying to figure out what the best place to release them on is. So she's tried the main channel. And now she's going to be doing some on Badger live streams in the hopes that it will drive some more traffic. But hey, we are coming up on 10,000 subscribers. So if you guys can get us over that hill, we're really close. And I know that there are way more people that watch than that are not subscribed. I don't really look at the analytics in the background, but I know it's typically something between 20 and 40% of people who watch are not subscribed or they come across the content. So please consider subscribing to the channel. It'll really help us out quite a bit, and hopefully we can continue to grow, because I don't know if you saw this as an aside, before we get into the stories, and I already mentioned what the after show is. And to join us, by the way, just become a member by going to feedthebadger.com/subscribe, and you can join us and become a Badger yourself. And that means a lot to us. We really appreciate it. And also, if you want to send a message at any point during the stream, send a donation or some support. Sorry, I know I'm not supposed to use the D word, to feedthebadger.com/just-the-tip. You can send up some message there, and they actually are a little bit better than the ones sent through YouTube, because YouTube has a bit of a filtration system that they like to use. One last thing, shout out to the Rumble gang. Unfortunately, Rumble and Social Stream Ninja are not playing nice right now, so I have to like look back and forth at the Rumble chat at the same time, but it's okay, not a problem. It's just a little bit of extra work, not a big deal. So, all right, so the thing I was going to mention is that before I get into the stories, and since it's just me and Mike and maybe Lauren, I've noticed that the issues that we discuss, the men's rights issues, whatever you want to call it, the discussion, the discourse, the discourse,
the message.
Yeah, no, you remember the viral video of the actress doing twerking, don't fuck with your discourse. Yeah, never mind. Forget it. The discourse has expanded, and I was tagged in a tweet the other day. Maybe I can find it really quick. Hold on a second, because I'd like to share it with you guys. By Chloe Roma. Well, somebody tweeted a video by Chloe Roma, and they tagged us in it, tagged Allison and myself, and I just realized that I want to like bring it up and show what the video is. I'm not gonna watch it, but someone shared it with us, and because Chloe Roma essentially claimed that, you know, she basically created men's rights. Like she's like the Rollo Tomasi of men's rights. Like she invented it, she wrote the book on it, and somebody tagged us in it. But Allison tweets so much that I can't fucking find it. So there you go. Never mind. And I guess what I'm saying is that this is a bit of a good thing, I will say. So yes, she's fighting with us a little bit. She's pretending like we don't exist. She's acting like she invented everything. Whatever, who cares? But the point is that the conversation is reaching more and more people all the time. So I just thought about that, and it's only because of your support. But maybe if we can grow this channel more, then we can become a force to be reckoned with, and we won't have to defer to basically self-congratulatory thoughts that they just repeat shit that other people have already said for the last 10 years or 15 years or 20 years or 30 years. So yeah, I'd appreciate if you guys could subscribe to the channel and help us grow. And with that said, we are now going to get into the story. So first, we're talking about Dr. Disrespect, as you can see. Now, I sent this one to Mike J to do the write-up. I don't know much about this guy, except that he's got like a funny character that he does. That's it. So, but here's the story. Herschel Guy Beam the Fourth, is that his real name? Better known online under his streamer alias and persona as Dr. Disrespect, has found himself in a potentially career-ending event. Beam rose to fame as a video game live streamer on the Twitch platform, where he played up the persona of Dr. Disrespect, a competitive gamer with a bombastic personality and a love of trash talk. At one point during his 9-year run on Twitch, Beam had over 4 million followers and hundreds of millions of views. But abruptly on June 26, 2020, Beam had his Twitch account permanently banned. The only statement that Twitch made on the incident was the following, quote, "As is our process, we take the appropriate action when we have evidence that a streamer has acted in violation of our community's guidelines or terms of service. These apply to all streamers, regardless of status or prominence in the community," end quote.
Bullshit.
Yeah. The same day, Discord would also drop Beam from their partnership program, citing community standard violations. This resulted in, and I hope I'm not butchering his last name. It's spelled Beahm, so I'm assuming it's Beam, and there's just like extra.
It means something, like maybe it's Beam.
Beam.
Just say Beam.
Beam. Yeah, I'm gonna say Beam.
Emphasize it. It's fine.
Yeah. This resulted in Beam taking a break from streaming and launching a lawsuit against Twitch. Beam would go on to win said lawsuit via a settlement, which Twitch in both parties admitted to no wrongdoing, and Twitch would pay out the rest of Beam's contract. As the lawsuit came to a close, so did discussion of the situation. Most blamed Twitch and their notoriously vague and ever-changing guidelines for the incident. But the question had always remained, what was the actual reason for the permanent ban? Fast forward over 2 years, and Beam had returned to the world of video game streaming, but this time on the YouTube gaming platform, where he had mostly rebuilt his empire. On June 21st, a former Twitch employee, Cody Connors, seemingly revealed the true reason for Twitch's split with Beam. In a tweet, Connors stated the following, quote, "He got banned because he got caught sexting a minor in the then existing Twitch Whispers product. He was trying to meet up with her at TwitchCon. The powers that be could read in plain text. Case closed, gang," end quote. Connors' accusation sent shockwaves through the streaming community, though most weren't willing to believe such strong allegations with no hard evidence. Beam attempted to stay blasé about the situation, shrugging it off with a tweet that said, quote, "Listen, I'm obviously tied to legal obligations from the settlement with Twitch, but I just need to say that what I can, since this is the fucking internet. I didn't do anything wrong. All this has been probed and settled. Nothing illegal. No wrongdoing was found. and I was paid, end quote. Most found Beam's explanation of things to not be very convincing because this is the internet and the wording was a bit too legal, but without any hard proof of the allegations, it was hard to tell who was telling the truth. Beam then announced that he intended to take an extended vacation away from the streaming for the foreseeable future, which was odd as he has been heavily hyping his current Elden Ring DLC streams. The situation grew even larger when others in the live streaming community corroborated Connors' allegations. In the middle of this matter was his own video game development group, the Midnight Society Game Studio, announced that they were cutting ties with Beam. Things finally exploded with one last message from Beam released yesterday. The most damning part of Beam's statement is the following, end quote. Were there Twitch whisper messages with an individual minor back in 2017? The answer is yes. Were there real intentions behind those messages? The answer is absolutely not. These were casual, mutual conversations that sometimes lean too much in the direction of being inappropriate, but nothing more. Nothing illegal happened, no pictures were shared, no crimes were committed. I never even met the individual. I went through a lengthy arbitration regarding a civil dispute with Twitch, and that case was resolved by a settlement. Let me be clear, it was not a criminal case against me, and no criminal charges have ever been brought against me, end quote. Beam does not expand on what happened any more than this in his statement. He closes the statement confirming he will be taking an extended vacation and that he will be back in the future. Since the admission of impropriety, Beam has lost multiple sponsorships, including the San Francisco 49ers football team and gaming accessory company Turtle Beach.
Yeah, there's not enough information here. I don't know how much more information is out there, and maybe I should be privy to it, but in the event that I'm not, I'm going to go with what we have here. Minor could mean a 17-year-old. A 17-year-old pretending to be 25 could be a 12-year-old pretending to be 25. We don't know who he thought he was talking to, let alone how serious anyone was being. And look, I mean, a good rule of thumb when it comes to these things is just don't fuck the kids. Like, you think whatever you want, talk to a professional about whatever you want, just don't fuck the kids. No one's broken that rule on this occasion, so that's a good start. A good rule of index finger is just don't talk to kids either. Like, even if you're not a nonce, just don't talk to kids, because you'll get called a nonce if you do. Even if you're not talking about sex, just don't talk to kids ever about anything. It's just not worth it.
So here's the thing. I'm just going to add to this, okay? So I have seen, I know what the, okay, let me start over. So we know that everything was settled legally with Twitch, and it was basically no wrongdoing was found. He was done. He took a break, and then he came back. I'm not going to tell you what happened or whatever. All we know is what happened under the law and how things were settled. And it seems to me that nothing illegal happened. Maybe you could say inappropriate. That's fine, but it's not a legal term. It's just an observation of how you feel about it at the end of the day. But that doesn't matter. He's going to have to deal with that in his own, time in his own way. And yes, I agree with Mike. It's probably just a good idea to not interact with, maybe just don't interact with people on the internet because you don't know how old they are. You don't know what they're going to do. You don't know how they're going to act. It's just too dangerous, especially if you're a man on the internet. That's just the truth, okay? Because on Twitch, there was a period in time where women were on there basically naked or fully naked, just not showing anything. And that was like the meta. And they were just making thousands of dollars. And Twitch didn't say shit. They were like, that's not inappropriate. Even though there could be underage boys watching Twitch content. There could be underage girls watching Twitch content of OnlyFans thoughts with their titties out. But that's fine because it's a woman. And it's making Twitch a lot of money. So that's neither here nor there. And also, there is also, I think it's worth pointing out that from what I understand, even though Dr. Disrespect doesn't necessarily wade into the political, he is somebody who doesn't like political correctness and he doesn't like wokeness. about as much as, say, Nick Merckx. And I covered a story with Nick Merckx like a while back, who's another streamer. I think he does Call of Duty. I don't really know. I think he lost like a skin or something because of this other guy who ended his own life. That was also very popular. And Nick Merckx was in hot water very recently because he said essentially that trans people don't exist on a live stream. And this got him into a huge lot of trouble with the G Mafia. And Dr. Disrespect kind of sided with him, at least in his right to express himself. So I think that there could be other things going on. What I'm pointing out is the standards of judgment that not only Twitch and YouTube, pass, or Discord passes, but also the general public online passes. When they look at things like what Dr. Disrespect has done, they don't line up. Like Hassan has basically said on Twitch that America does deserve 9/11. Everybody knows that he said that on a live stream. Guess what? He's still up there. He's like the top political streamer on Twitch, which says a lot about Twitch and like the quality of that platform. So,
or the political biases of that platform.
Yeah, or the political bias. Yeah, but even what does what Hassan say even qualify as political when he's just saying like end property rights and fuck America? 9/11 was earned or something like that. I mean, I don't know. I've seen him when he's actually got a fight with like political welterweights like Piers Morgan, and he gets crushed. So I don't know if he counts as political content. I mean, he describes us as inanimate objects.
I mean, you can make a movie that gets 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's still a movie.
Yeah. Okay.
He's terrible at politics, but it is what he does.
Yes, it's true. So anyway, so what I saw on Twitter with regards to because I didn't know what the whole story was. People were going back and forth. I saw people like the Quartering were being very fair. Essentially, all he was saying is that, look, it wasn't only him, but like people like the Quartering were saying, look, if he was having private chats or whispers, whatever you call it, with an underage girl, it was one. It doesn't make him a nonce, not automatically, because nothing happened. We don't know how old she is. It's just important to point out there's a difference between someone talking and someone like actually grooming a child. And I think that that's important because the whole Twitter sphere, the commie part, the feminist part, the Me Too part, is all basically saying that he is essentially the same as an actual offending child molester. I don't know how else to put it. And I just don't think that is precise enough. And I think that we should be precise. So, and maybe the fact that it's an election year has something to do with it. I don't know. I feel like 2024, like all bets are off. It's all related, in my opinion. But that's the other stuff I wanted to share about that. So,
yeah. To complete my series of rules of thumb and fingers. The rule of the middle finger is just don't talk to anyone. Just don't interact with anyone ever. Dr. Disrespect is certainly guilty of breaking the third rule, as we all do on a daily basis. We're not ready for it yet as a society. But the good doctor also broke the second rule: don't talk to kids, i.e., minors, whatever minors may mean in any given. Maybe he didn't know he was breaking that rule, and maybe it's irrelevant given that the minor in question was never in danger. But he failed the mission. He did speak to a minor. For that, he should be admonished. Remember, folks, be very careful when talking to strange people on the internet. It might be a child trying to fuck you.
And it might be a Fed pretending to be a child trying to fuck you, yes.
Or a child pretending to be a Fed, pretending to be a child. But seriously, though, well, that was serious. Dark, but serious. But seriously, in this age of wall-to-wall rainbow noncery in which we live, this story, like Brian said, was practically nothing. if the good doctor wanted to nonce a child, all he had to do was throw on a frilly dress, and he could sign up for it at the local kindergarten. This has all the all too familiar hallmarks of a witch hunt. To be honest, one of those a hunt for one witch. He somehow or other he pissed off someone in a high place at Twitch, and then that someone in that high place at Twitch went, here is the man, show me the crime.
Yes.
And then the vicious midwits got involved. People like to feel like they're helping. That's normal. But some people really, really want to feel like they're saving the world from evil. However, they're not particularly interested in actually examining problems. Never mind working through those problems, heaven forbid, solving them. And those kinds of people are inevitably drawn towards easy targets, already totemic sort of pariahs, things they already see as indisputably deplorable. Like you don't even have to think about it. The problem has already been examined and solved by quote unquote experts. And the only thing left to do is rid the world of these ideas and the people who deign to still have them. Like fascism. Nobody likes fascism. No one even knows what the word fascism means anymore, and it doesn't even matter. It's just a derogatory term loosely described as a descriptive term. Like we might as well say the bad guys when we're saying fascism, or the evil thing. It has no more semantic complexity than a meerkat making a noise that means snake. Less, actually. It's less specific than that. Meerkats have a surprisingly complex vocabulary, actually. They can make calls that can distinguish between a tall human wearing yellow and a small human wearing red. Which is more than most college graduates can manage nowadays.
Wow.
What's meerkat speak for I'm not a biologist?
Hakuna Matata. Isn't it?
My uncle killed my dad and now he wants to kill me. Wow, have you considered not just fucking worrying about it?
Yeah, right? Exactly. It's their problem-free philosophy.
Although it's ironic because another fun fact about meerkats is they murder each other more than any other species. I mean, certainly terrestrial vertebrates. A meerkat has got something like a 21% chance of being killed by another meerkat. It seems they get very easily pissed off with each other, and maybe it's related to this ability they have, the advanced technology of name calling. And it's the same with the lower midwits being churned out by our education systems. All they do is learn incantations, magic words that can save you from ever having to think, like fascism. They incantate that, and then they call themselves anti-fascists or Antifa for short. And hey, presto, we can do whatever we like, even when we're taking the form of a violent mob. And anyone who gets in our way is literally evil incarnate, and they deserve anything we do to them. Yeah, and the same goes with all their other magic words like patriarchy and white supremacy and capitalism. And yes, pedo. Although that's a different magic fraternity house, fucking Slytherin or whatever. I don't understand Zoomer references. Get off, leave me alone.
Skibidi D. It's for real.
The bad one in Harry Potter. I don't get your gay books and shit.
No cap.
But yeah, pedo is another one of those thought-terminating cliches, but it's subcategorical. It's as far as people do know what pedo means. It means nonce. And unlike the ethereal demons you're taught about in college, nonces are indeed real, very much so. Now
Oh,
more
yeah.
than ever, in fact, they too are being churned out at the top end of our aforementioned education systems. So you can see why there would be a pushback against all the nonsense. You can see why so many people fancy themselves as pedo hunters. But it is possible to go too far in anything, no matter how uncontroversial it may seem. If you think you cannot go too far, then you will go too far inexorably, and that'll be marked by the occasion when you start going after innocent people.
For real.
Whether it's your enemies or just randos like Dr. Disrespect. You may think no matter what you do as a pedo hunter, you'll never be as bad as a pedo. And yeah, all right, maybe not, but you're a great deal worse than the innocent men you accuse. When you rally a mob against an actual monster, we can split hairs about how many wrongs make a right or whatever. But when you rally a mob against an innocent person, you are the monster. There's no two ways about it. You're possibly a worse monster. I mean, what would you rather encounter in the woods? A torch-wielding pitchfork mob chanting your exact name, or a pedo? Let's say a pedo bear, if that makes it more interesting. I think I'd go with the pedo bear. I mean, it's a cartoon, yet somehow it found itself in a real life three-dimensional forest, which would suggest it's a supernatural entity with supernatural powers of, I guess, kid fucking. But I'm not a child, so odds are, I'd be safer with the pedo bear. Odds being, if the mob catches me, there's a 100% chance they will kill me. Like, ritually, slowly and sadistically, they'll kill me. I'll probably get burned to death in public in a manner that doesn't even raise awareness for Palestine. and if you make you see what I'm saying now, and if you make any kind of argument in this moral space in which I'm currently speaking, if you allude to the existence of this space in the moral landscape where it's even possible to acknowledge that some self-righteous pedo hunters can be so reckless and capricious as to be counterproductive, because all they do is muddy the water between the guilty and the innocent. You say all this stuff, and the midwits with their magic spells just go, "What are you, a pedo defender? What are you, just defending pedos?
Yeah.
Are you a fucking pedo defender?" And that's it. Just brain off, lights out. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Just say the magic words over and over again till the end of time. But that's all you'll ever get from tribal midwits, no matter what you say. Anything you say that doesn't kiss their ass, they'll just go with that script. They're set in their ways. They're going, I am a crusader against the evil thing. Therefore, anyone who attacks me for any reason must be defending the evil thing. That's it. That's as far as they can go. They're in henchman mode. They're NPCs.
They're mobs.
You're not going to get through to them, and neither am I. You just need to purge them from your life before they turn their pitchforks on you. And the same goes for the nonces. The actual nonces. Get away from them too. Most of them aren't even hiding underground, twirling their mustaches in internet chat rooms. They're out in the open and in charge of your schools. They're busy noncing your children's bollocks off as we speak, and the government will fly their official nonce flag and arrest you if you have a problem with it. So if you really want to address the problem of nonces, if you really want to rid the world of nonces, you should probably focus on the $1 trillion industry of nonce factories into which our schools have been transformed. But as I said, midwits don't do that. They'd rather point the finger at random blokes who pissed them off for some unrelated reason. Because random blokes are the easiest target for everyone. So everyone just eventually defaults to shitting on random blokes. So it's all just a gigantic contest between midwits to see which midwits can shit all over the most random blokes in the shortest possible time. And when they don't win the contest and they don't get the power and the glory and it all blows up in their faces, they don't even learn their lesson. They just keep shitting on random blokes. They might adopt a different stance. They might focus on a different ideological bugbear, but they'll go right back to shitting on random blokes. Yeah. Randomers, we call ourselves. Randos. Those are my people. Literally my middle name. We're just normal men. We're just innocent men.
So, nonces are also underground sometimes. And they're also in our schools, and they run our countries. They're in charge of our governments.
Wombling free.
Yep. They're in our media. They're in our banks. They're everywhere. So they could look like anybody. But what I think is really going on here with Dr. Disrespect is, remember, bear in mind, okay, according to him, and no one has refuted this entire matter was already settled. And somebody brought it back up, and that became a big thing. And it drove him out. So they were looking for a scalp. They got it. This is what it was about. This is reminiscent of how you can destroy a man, even if he got out of it, even if he, settled the whole thing, like privately with through the appropriate channels, which according to him, he has done. And no one has said that otherwise. No one has denied this. No one has said that he didn't, do things the right way and deal with it on his own, in the way that you're supposed to, going through the appropriate channels. And yet it doesn't matter because they wanted to destroy him personally. This is the way that this is how Me Too works. This is what it is. And this is what has happened. And the next story I think we're covering is similar because it was the same weapon that was used against Julian Assange. But before we get into that, I'm going to look at your super chats and super chows. So I got one here. Oh, I can't. Why they're not coming up for some reason? Oh, you know what? I know why. Hold on a second. I gotta make the website go away. Okay, so Meredith G gave us $5. Meredith Top G, and says HBR News 461, honey for the badgers. Thank you, Meredith. And then I got another super chow from Tom for $5, and he says, I've seen a short from another popular creator, Thor, the game developer, describing the fact that if you choose to notify subscribers when releasing shorts and not enough subscribers watch the short, it gets deboosted. And if you turn off notifications for subscribers, the algo puts it out to live viewers, at least to a higher rate. Another factor you might want to tinker with if you didn't already know this tidbit. I did not, Tom. Thank you so much for that tidbit. I'll have to, hopefully Allison will see this and she will act on that or consider that. All right, and I think that's it. Nothing from Rumble and nothing from YouTube. So we're gonna move on to the next story. Let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. By the way, this is the video in question. F House Bunny shared it, but I got it from someone else. And she says that she is going to do a response video to this Chloe Roma video where she claims essentially that she is the only reason why people are discussing men's issues, essentially. So I'm not gonna go into it any more than that, but all I will tell you is I called it. I said this years ago when I first discovered her. I said that she was gonna take credit for all of our work. So, but that's okay. That's all right. I'm sure that she knows Janice Fiamengo and Paul Elam and others, but instead she's just fighting with Pearl, and she's using this to essentially claim the moral high ground over Pearl Davis, who I think is a way better MRA, by the way. But anyway, let's move on to the next story. So,
a bitter pill to swallow to know that all she had to do was drop an N-bomb in a TikTok video. And then
no, that's not the same one.
No, it's not. And then she could speed run the whole.
Yeah, I know, right? Become the alt-right. You know what? I still don't understand why anybody thinks somebody saying the N-word makes them right wing. Like, there's no connection to these things. You guys are just so programmed to believe that N-word must be right wing. So basically, the South Side of Chicago is essentially a Republican stronghold. Shut up. All right. Anyway, let's get into the next story. So Julian Assange has reached a plea deal with the US, allowing him to go free. Assange has agreed to plead guilty to a felony charge related to a national security material, resulting in his release from a British prison after 5 years. Assange is set to plead guilty to a charge of conspiracy to obtain and reveal classified information on the Espionage Act in a U.S. Commonwealth court in the Northern Mariana Islands. The plea agreement allows Assange to admit guilt and avoid additional prison time, with a proposed 62-month sentence to match his time served in a British prison. So he is going free under the condition that he pleads guilty. So this is an important distinction, okay? I thought I would give you guys a little bit of background on Julian Assange in case you don't know. I know a lot of people get him and Edward Snowden mixed up, and and it's kind of an old story, and some of you guys might be younger, so I have a little bit of background here on Julian Assange that I want to share with you. So Assange demonstrated a strong aptitude for programming and hacking from a very young age. He was involved in the hacking group International Subversives and was charged with several hacking related offenses in 1991, but was released on good behavior. Julian Assange was born on July 3rd, 1971 in Townsville, Queensland, Australia. From a young age, he exhibited a strong talent for programming and hacking. So, like I already mentioned, he was part of this hacking group called International Subversives. Although he faced charges for hacking, he was released on good behavior. Julian Assange was born... Whoa, I'm sorry. I kind of accidentally repeated something. In 2006, Assange founded WikiLeaks. So this is the thing everybody knows him for. A platform dedicated to publishing classified, censored, or restricted official materials. The goal was to provide a safe, anonymous way for whistleblowers to share sensitive documents with the public. WikiLeaks quickly became known for its high-profile releases. In 2010, Sweden issued a European arrest warrant for Assange over allegations of sexual misconduct, which he denies. Fearing extradition to the US, Assange sought asylum in the Ecuadorian embassy in London of June 2012. He stayed there for nearly 7 years until April 2019, when Ecuador withdrew his asylum, leading to his arrest by British authorities. Assange was then sentenced to 50 weeks in prison for breaching bail conditions. The US government has charged Assange with multiple counts under the Espionage Act and conspiracy to commit computer intrusion related to WikiLeaks publications. Obviously, you guys probably already know that he really upset the United States military-industrial complex with some of the leaks that came out during the wars in the Middle East and with Hillary Clinton's emails. And that was like a crucial or a big part of the presidential race in 2016. So I looked to see what the bias is in the media. So on the left media, the left emphasizes Australian leaders' lobbying efforts and Biden's consideration of dropping the case, suggesting diplomatic influences. The center highlights Assange as a journalist exposing U.S. military wrongdoing, presenting a sympathetic view of his actions. And the right focuses on Assange's plea deal as ending the legal battle without delving into the details of journalistic freedom emphasized in the center. So this is just to give you guys, at least as well as I can like put it together, thing. But I thought what was mostly interesting is that one of the things that kept him in jail was an accusation of sexual assault, which remained unproven. I think they dropped the charges and nothing came out of it, but he did have to stay in prison. And this is just another way that you can use accusations of sexual misconduct, sexual assault, whatever you want to call it, to destroy somebody's life. I mean, the guy was in jail for decades, right? And I'm still kind of like foggy on the charges, except conspiracy, which is kind of like the same stuff that they're, that they threw Enrique Tarrio in jail for, by the way. So I don't know, Mike, do you know more about this? I'm sure that you've been following this stuff somewhat.
Yeah, we've had 14 years to follow it, and
yeah,
it's important to put that big old asterisk next to the word "free" when describing Mr. Assange's current predicament. What happened is he has pled guilty to a crime, so they let him out. Seems a bit topsy-turvy, I know, but it's the Biden regime, and that is the policy. Oh, you're officially a criminal now. Well, then we have to let you go. Bye. Enjoy Even if you're a murderer, yeah, go have fun murdering people. Go on, get. We've got innocent people to entrap and arrest because of their political views. Possibly the very same innocent people you're about to murder. We'll have a race, yeah. See who can get them first. Seriously though, and I do mean seriously though. We don't know what's going to happen at the end of this plea deal. All we know is that right now, he is allowed, with many restrictions, to travel beyond the confines of arrest and/or house arrest for an undisclosed amount of time before he is taken into the custody of the US justice system, finally, which they've been trying to get him in for 14 years, and now they finally have, where he faces another 5 years in prison, 62 months, about 5 years. So he's essentially just having a vacation from prison after 14 years of on and off isolated prison treatment. They're finally letting him take a short sabbatical from his career as a political prisoner. We're going to let him amble about for a bit, stretch his legs, and then he gets the call. And the curtains open, and we begin Act 3, Belly of the Beast. Now you're on Clinton's watch. And people are looking at that and going, he's free. Julian Assange is freed. Praise be, he is freed. I mean, in the loosest possible sense.
Are you sure about that?
He's free, like how free you feel when you're having your last meal on death row and you get to choose anything in the world. That kind of free, you know. But
yeah.
Soon he'll be approaching the final boss stage, where everything's all thunderstorms and lava, and he has to dodge those pesky suicide drones, them pesky suicide fairies with their suicide missiles, and he's got to dodge all that for the next 5 years. Is it?
Can I just come in real quick, because Meredith G sent a message like a while back. I guess it was during the show earlier this week about Assange, and she just tagged me in a comment in the chat, and I wanted to read it out. It was probably read on the HBR talk, but it says, one of the reasons why the Biden administration did the deal with Assange is because they were concerned that a court ruling from British courts, which was expected to be bad, would hurt opportunities to extradite from other countries that would follow suit after the ruling. And she also mentioned in the comments that this was conditional. The plea deal involved the requirement that Assange destroy certain records that he had from the DNC. So I don't know. I guess there is that. But go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and even
you were talking about Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, and even if he's able to take those 62 months and bargain them all the way down to nothing, it still doesn't matter, because he still has to presumably enter the United States or in some way submit to US custody on some kind of soil somewhere. And once he's done that, the law can't save him. He'll be within the attack range of creatures who are above the law. It'll be just him and Hillary Clinton in a room with a pencil. Whatever happens beyond that is better imagined than described. They're going to kill him in prison. Yes, I'm beating this dead horse again. And Trump as well. They're going to get Assange and Trump and Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro and, I don't know, that MyPillow guy, just for good measure. They're going to line all their heads up together in a prison cell so Hillary can come in and kill them all with one bullet and blame it on a fly. A Russian fly with devil horns and a botched etching of a swastika on its thorax. and then Obama kills you with a drone. Yes, you, dear listener. That's how this story ends. Suddenly and for no reason, when Obama kills you with a drone. Spoiler alert, I know, but like I said, you won't be expecting it, and once it happens, you'll be dead, so it won't matter. It's almost liberating, isn't it? Not having to worry about health or property or any legacy you might pass down or anything, really, because death will not tarry on its way to you. It will be swift and brutal and completely unpredictable when one day Obama is playing around with his toy radio-controlled war crime, and he just goes, "Oopsie, you're dead too now." No, don't get all wee up. Don't get all wee up. And
if
yeah, and then the world explodes. Fuck it, I don't know. It's never good news, is what I'm saying. What looks like good news is almost always just a front for bad news.
What about the part where Muhammad comes riding on a unicorn? Isn't that what it's supposed to be? A unicorn with like the head of the Tsar of Russia? I don't know. I don't know what the prophecy says,
to be a
but
harbinger of bad news. I would say that I've developed a condition called euphobia. And it's the fear of hearing good news.
Oh,
and
euphobia.
It's not even an irrational fear, because wherever there's good news happening on the stage, there's always some horrific event happening behind the scenes.
There is no light without shadow.
Yeah, behind dark clouds is always clear blue sky, but behind the clear blue sky is always this infinite black nothingness thing, and
all space.
That do be how it go. It do. Just saying.
There are also stars. All right then. Lauren, do you want to say anything? I mean, are you there? She's still in the other room. She's still in the kitchen.
This until 10 seconds later, I think.
Oh, is she on a computer in the other room?
She's on a phone.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. So, Julian Assange. Hopefully, I don't know. Wait, like, I hope he gets to do an interview at least. I know that, Tucker Carlson wanted to talk to him. Tim Pool wanted to talk to him. Tim Pool made this Julian Assange thing like a very important thing to vote on. And also, I understand that Trump, because he originally had like negative things to say about Assange, but at the last libertarian convention, he did say that he would look into it and try to help him out. So
he mentioned Ross Ulbricht. I don't recall him mentioning Julian Assange.
Yeah, I think that Tim Pool confronted him on the Julian Assange thing in an interview, because Tim Pool got to interview Trump. Did you watch that?
I didn't get.
Oh yeah, he did. He got to interview Trump at the thing, and he confronted him about the Julian Assange thing, because the Julian Assange thing means a lot to Tim Pool, because Tim Pool is a journalist, and so he's one of those journalists that does journalism, one of the few. So
he's able to afford jet setting to various locations.
Yeah,
always has been. I don't know how he does that.
Yeah, dude, the guy he has an amazing work ethic. I'm kind of glad to have met him a couple times, Tim Pool. But anyway, he doesn't remember me. Okay, so anyway, we will move on to the next story. Let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments, and we'll move on to the next story. So we're going to be talking about, what is this? The Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, one of my favorite organizations, and Wikipedia, one of my favorite organizations. So Wikipedia editors have decided that the Anti-Defamation League is no longer a, quote, generally reliable, end quote, source for information coming from Wikipedia about anti-Semitism and the Israel-Palestine conflict. This decision, debated for months among Wikipedia's volunteer editors, is a significant blow to the ADL, a long-standing civil rights organization. The editors cited the ADL's politicized stance on Zionism and its methodology for categorizing anti-Semitic incidents as key reasons for the decision. The ADL's current CEO, Jonathan Greenblatt, has been criticized for partisan actions and statements, including equating anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism. The ADL responded by calling the Wikipedia decision part of a campaign to delegitimize the organization, emphasizing their ongoing commitment to fighting hate. This controversy highlights the broader tense debate around the Israel-Palestine conflict you might have heard about, especially following the October 7th Hamas attack on, well, Israel. So is this okay to talk about on here?
No, it's not okay to talk about it anywhere.
Yeah, right.
But I'll give it a go.
Okay.
Doesn't Zionism just mean Israel? Zionism is about Jews having a Jewish homeland. Israel is that homeland. Ipso facto, when you say Zionism, you mean Israel and vice versa. They are two synonyms that act as the euphemism / dysphemism of the other, delete as appropriate. And I don't mean delete as, I mean delete the word as appropriate.
Yeah.
Then you're left asking, is Israel synonymous with Judaism? And is Judaism even synonymous with Jews? And how? Where do you stretch it to? And at what point is Zionism still synonymous with deep fried fish?
We're gonna get in trouble.
It's all a pretty moot point, but not as moot as this entire story because it's just two retards fighting.
Yeah, right. I was just gonna say it's Wikipedia versus the ADL.
Yeah.
Like, I hope both teams have fun.
It's two retards having a victim fight, no less. Or is it,
yes.
Or is it two victims having a retard fight? I guess it's
no, they're not real victims, so it's definitely two retards having a victim fight. Yeah.
And I don't mean Israel and Palestine, by the way. I don't mean the Jews and the Muslims. I mean the retards thousands of miles away supporting Israel and Palestine as though they're local football teams. And in this case, yeah, Wikipedia supports Palestine and the ADL supports Israel. Great. Fascinating. I'm happy for you both. What are your zodiac signs? What do you do for a hobby? Do you think the dress is blue and black or white and gold? T fucking E. And yeah, I guess this is the point of pointing and laughing at the warring factions of these oikophobes. But it's all it's kind of Pyrrhic victory at best when they're having this fight right on top of the grave of Western civilization. They're dancing on said grave as they have this fight. The Frankfurt School has long since concluded that Christianity is the enemy, but they neglected to establish a hierarchy among the remaining religions. Which one is the most important in our schema of who is more or less oppressed and therefore who needs more counter privilege or whatever? Is it Islam because it's bigger, or is it Judaism because it's smaller? Do we have any of those moral guidelines about supporting the
all I know is that they need Jesus. That's all I know.
Do they need moral guidelines like might makes right, or the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, stuff like that? No, you see, those sound suspiciously like principles. No, we neglected to rescue any of those from the buildings and the bridges we burned down when we decided Christianity is bad. End of story. So the Jews and the Muslims are just going to have to fight this out. Amongst each other? No, hell no. Amongst each other? I've never heard such absurdities. Girl, you tripping. No, with our funding and our constant egging on, the Jews and the Muslims will fight this out to the death.
To our deaths.
And whoever survives.
Also
will
Western
the Christians.
Yes, the blood of Christians will be used in this war. But I don't want to talk about the actual conflict. I think that I chose this because I thought it was hilarious that Wikipedia was going to try to, essentially claim the moral high ground. Now, they might have a case, I'm not siding with Israel here or the ADL, because the ADL is shit. But Wikipedia is also shit. So like, I'm indifferent. This is like just an example of how unreliable our supposed resource betters are. Our civil rights warriors and our information collectors are both garbage. Wikipedia believes in essentially postmodern framing of everything, and the ADL, they believe in the hate that mutates, so they never run out of things to complain about. and I think that they're both illegitimate, and that's why my joke is, whatever happens, y'all need Jesus. So anyway, this is not a channel that delves into geopolitics. I have my personal opinions on that, but that's not what we're talking about. I'm just talking about Wikipedia and the ADL both being a joke. And Mike J sent it to me. I don't know what his intentions were, but that was my takeaway. So
and
anyway,
what about the Hindus and the Buddhists? Why do Wikipedia and the ADL and all these alphabet industries never bother arguing about them and all the killing that they do of each other? The 4 or 5 billion people over there who aren't killing each other over ancient Middle Eastern preachers who thought they were the one and only messenger of God. No one cares about them. Because those guys are going to win anyway. They had saline shots. What?
Yeah.
What? Am I the ADL or am I Wikipedia? I don't know. I've lost track of the madness. But I challenge anyone in the world right now to have ever found track of the madness. It's all bollocks. It's all pants. It's gross. It's racist. I hate everyone. You're listening to Honey Badger Radio. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and share the video because sharing is caring.
All right. Well, let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. I look forward to seeing your thoughts because I'm sure they will be colorful. All right. Last story. This one Mike J felt very strongly about. So, New York's wave of illegal aliens committing illegal alien committed crime is a category of crime committed by illegals continues with an especially heinous entry. Earlier this month in the neighborhood of Flushing in Queens, New York, a 13-year-old girl and her similarly aged friend were abducted by an illegal immigrant brandishing a knife. The man dragged both of them into a secluded spot in the nearby Casena Park. Once there, he tied them together using their own shoelaces and then proceeded to rape the 13-year-old girl while forcing her friend to watch. Once done, he stole both of their cell phones and fled the area. Police were able to track down and release an image of the man from local security cameras, and with the help of the victims, release an image of his very distinct chest tattoo and an angry boar's head with red eyes. Wow. Locals in the neighborhood of Corona in Queens recognized the man from the pictures released by police and knew that he frequented a local deli. A group of Good Samaritans then set up a stakeout and waited several hours for the man to return. Once he did, a local man, Jeffrey Flores, grabbed the man and dragged him out by the deli, where fellow Good Samaritans assisted in detaining and interrogating the man that would later be identified as 25-year-old illegal immigrant Christian Giovanni Ingalandi. According to witnesses, at no point did Ingalandi declare his innocence. Instead, he apologized, offered to try and explain the situation, and even begged them to release him so he could return to his home country of Ecuador. Police eventually showed up and arrested Ingalandi. While under arrest, Ingalandi identified himself as the man in the pictures released by police and confessing to his horrific acts, also including new information such as how he had recorded his assault on the 13-year-old girl. It turns out that Ingalandi had been in the U.S. illegally after being caught by Border Patrol agents in Eagle Pass, Texas in June of 2021. He was ordered by a judge to be deported in 2020, but was never actually removed. He then moved to New York and took up residence at a local homeless shelter, which was next to the deli where he was detained. And Mike J pointed out to me, although he didn't write it in here, that the person he assaulted, not raped, but the person he forced to watch was a boy. And for whatever reason, a 13-year-old boy, that is, and for whatever reason, in the all the news stories related to this incident, which was widely reported, there was no mention of the 13-year-old boy that was also assaulted, tied up, and forced to watch. Probably traumatized by the experience, but that was also left out of the original story. So anyway, that's the last story. I don't know what you guys think about that.
I have not thought of anything to say. This is normally the point where Hannah comes along and says something sensitive about the situation. Yeah. I was unable to throw any humorous shade on it, and that's generally all I'm able to do. You got anything to say, Lauren? Lauren's here now.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think I just would like to say to AOC, hey, thanks for getting rid of the jobs and you know, getting all these lovely immigrants. I bet she's very happy about that. Where is she? Oh, she's in DC and she doesn't have to deal with any of this shit.
Yeah.
You know, it sucks every way you look at it. But is anybody going to get serious about actually doing something? You know, I would love to see which one of them, if either Trump or Biden brings up the border issue tonight, and how quickly it'll be censored by the CNN, whoever is going to be there. Do we know who's going to be hosting?
Isn't it going to be Jake Tapper or something?
Oh,
yeah, it's going to be Jake Tapper.
This should be good.
No, there's nobody at that fucking network
you know,
that's fair. So
we've got to turn this shit around. You have to get these people out of here. And if this is the clear example of what's happening in not just in New York, but everywhere, in Chicago, in fucking everywhere.
yeah.
So,
Well, that that's the thing. Like,
if anybody's gonna take this shit seriously, and I don't think that they will. I think this is exactly what they want. You know,
it's chaos.
That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, it's just chaos. I mean, like, look, just because I am an advocate for men's issues doesn't mean I don't acknowledge evil when men perform it. So this guy was clearly doing evil, and the truth of the matter is not all cultures are equal. And also, a lot of the people who have crossed the border from the south, our southern border from these South American countries, they're not like regular citizens looking for a new life. They're like letting people out of their prisons and sending them here. So like this is why like trying to import the third world in order to fix like the repopulation problem, the problem of replacement rates, that's not how you do it. You don't flood the country with people who are let out of jails and prisons.
I have to say, that's just their excuse. The idea that the local population isn't producing enough.
No, I know it's their excuse, but like
if they really wanted to fix that, they would encourage the local population to make babies and raise them properly and have families. They're not they're not even pretending to give a shit about that. They've been ejecting fathers from the family situation for the longest time, and now they're working on just the state taking the children away altogether as soon as possible.
Yes. And that's what I'm getting at though. Like one time, okay, so I did this stream. I was talking to Lindsay about this earlier today. And I did this stream where we were doing a debate on this channel called Wick. They have like a Twitch channel. Somehow they get like people like Destiny and like people like that on. I don't know. It's probably because they're like lefties. But we were on there, obviously odd men out, and we were talking about the essentially the replacement rates, the falling replacement rates in Western countries. And of course, the other people on the panel, they're either idiots or they're just not serious people. Like they just didn't give a shit. And they thought that, well, then men, you got to step up. Like that was their whole thing. Well, if they want to make families, then women have to like want to be with them. And so the men have to step up. And I was like, that's not going to work. And Allison was making the case that, it would work just fine if the average woman was attracted to the average man, which is sort of like how it's always worked out. But Allison also made this, and I'm not like throwing shade at Allison because she knows how I feel about this already, but she also said that she doesn't care how it happens. Like she doesn't care what color the people are, where they come from, as long as it happens. But you see, I disagree because you again, the people who are coming through the border are not dudes that are just competing in the same way and have the same values and the same like desire to live in a fucking first world country that the people who already live here desire. They just don't. They're coming here from war-torn nations. They're coming here from prisons. They don't have an interest in integration. They have an interest in taking what they want. And so you're not going to get what you want. In fact, if you import a bunch of criminals from the third world or from like South America or Africa or China, which is where they're coming from. It's not just South America, right? They're coming here from China. They're coming here from Africa. They're coming here from the Middle East. They're coming in here from Gaza. you know, from those places, and they're not like the best people. This is exactly what Trump said in 2015 that got him in so much trouble, but it's true. And so like what you're doing is you kind of, this is the thing, okay? You have to stop pretending like we're all the same. You have to start looking at it in the sense that there are some people who are ready to live in a first world country, and there are people who are not. And those people should not be allowed in, and they don't have a right to be here because there's an appropriate way to get in here. I know because I worked really hard and spent a lot of money, Lindsay and I together, to get her to come here, and she's got a green card. But I guess if she was like a fucking gang member that lived in, you know, El Salvador, they would have just let her through. Like for nothing, probably giving us a place to live. So like, this is the thing, right? What would be the solution would be if American citizens were making babies, but our country is being propagandized against to where the women are willing to vote to destroy the country just because an asshole made a comment about repealing the 19th on Twitter. And they're okay with it. Like the number one thing that women are running on, the primary thing they give a shit about when it comes to the vote is the ability to kill their babies. They're ready to do that. This is where women are at right now. Okay? The men, they're looking at the things that will allow their society to continue. Like they care about the economy, they care about jobs, they care about immigration. The women don't care about any of that. So what's happening here is not just the fault of Democrats. It's not just the fault of the rhinos that support them because they're trying to get that cheap money. It's not just the fault of people like AOC that just want to like get more clout and votes. It's the fault of women that are voting out of spite. Women that go out and they're like, I'm going to destroy everything. Fuck you. And that's what they're doing. And men, they're just eventually, it's one thing's going to happen. Either women are going to change their mind or men are just going to rise up and it's just going to be over. Like women are going to lose their rights. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Men will, they have a breaking point and they're going to be like, okay, fuck this. You're done. Sit down. And women can't do anything about it. Like they can't. Like if men decide to rise up, it's over for women. It's over.
Right.
So, you know.
But the thing is, it's like men don't even have to rise up. They just have to check out.
Yeah, well, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, so to your point, yes, would it be healthier if we were having our own babies? But you also have to have parents that care about their kids. And this is why we're in the situation that we're fucking in, because yes, if the women cared about their children's safety, they wouldn't vote or, you know, vote for politicians and you know, vote for all these bills that allow these goddamn illegal immigrants in to affect their kids.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're absolutely right. If women care, then the politicians will care about what they want. But they have to care about their kids, and we don't. Not we, excuse me. I take myself out of that group when I speak about women.
I know. We're talking about, look, the overwhelming majority of women and men do want to start families, but women are not encouraged to do that. And men are also not encouraged to do that. But men who are not in this system, that are like coming in from the outside, they don't give a fuck. So like we're looking at people who don't care and will do what they want, and they'll take what they want because they come from a place that is nothing like ours, where might makes right, and they just get things done. And the women are not ready because they're too sheltered. They think everything is in the back, and they're not living in the real world. They're living in the world that men has made for them, that is so safe that they can't understand what like how dangerous it is without them. And so they take men for granted. And that's why, so, you know, I'm not going to excuse male evil, obviously, and that's what this is. But the only reason why this even happened is because women took men for granted. They took the men of their own society for granted. And so they just voted this shit in. And they did not rebel or like say anything when the people in power used it to create the conditions that we're in. But women ultimately are the ones that gave them that power.
I agree. And the only thing that I would say to that is that, yes, there are evil people in the world, but for those people to enact their evil thoughts, they have to have opportunity. And again, if you are not paying attention to your children, then you are just handing them over to these people. And you know, I'm not going to say that you deserve it, but holy shit, you got to make better decisions. You know, these are your children. These are their lives at stake. And if you don't care about it and you think the government is going to, holy shit, we're cooked.
Yep. Well, anyway, again, there's going to be a lot of suffering before it gets better. That's just the way it goes. We got to hit the bottom.
Yep.
And I guess we'll see. So those are my thoughts on that. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. I think we're going to go ahead and head into the patron show if there's nothing else. Nothing? Okay. Well, I will just say my heart goes out to Count Dankula. I hope that you that's it. I'm just gonna say that. So my thoughts are with Count Dankula. I hope he's okay. I only met him once, but I liked him a lot. I got a super chow from Telemnar that I should read out, and he gives us $20. Thank you, Telemnar. And he says, Zionism can mean either some kind of Israeli/Jewish state could exist, or sometimes Israel should territorially expand it to its biblically defined borders and possibly expel all non-Jews or make them non-citizens. Within that range of definitions, there is a ton of room for dishonest argument on every side of this debate. Also, the Hindus are currently in a bit of a struggle with the Muslims as well on the other end of their main territory. Long story there too. Yes, I am aware of that. Thank you, Telenar, for that. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up here and head into the patron show. And yeah, I hope you guys would join us. So I guess that's it. I'm gonna end it there. If you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, leave us a comment. Let us know what you guys think about what we discussed on the show today. And please, please, please share this video because sharing is caring. Thank you so much for coming on today's episode of HBR News. And we will talk to you all in the next one.
Are machines, dude. Okay, they are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.